In December 2019, Sarah, an adventurous 26-year-old, decided to explore a lesser-known trail in the snowy mountains of Colorado. The hike was supposed to be an escape from her stressful city life, a chance to clear her mind before the new year. She assured her parents she'd be back before sunset and left with her backpack and thermos of hot cocoa. As the trail wound deeper into the woods, the silence became eerie. The thick snow muffled every sound except the crunching of her boots. Around midday, Sarah noticed strange footprints leading off the trail. They didn't look human, too long and oddly spaced. She brushed it off, thinking it might have been an animal, and continued her hike. By early afternoon, Sarah reached a clearing surrounded by towering pine trees. She took a moment to sip her cocoa and admire the view. That's when she saw it. A figure standing at the edge of the clearing, dressed in black, with no visible face. Startled, she called out, "Hello? Do you need help?" The figure didn't respond, but tilted its head, as if studying her. Uneasy, Sarah decided to head back. But as she retraced her steps, she noticed something chilling. The footprints she had seen earlier now followed her trail. Her heart raced. She picked up her pace, but no matter how fast she walked, she kept feeling eyes on her. The sun began to set, casting long shadows across the snowy ground. Suddenly, Sarah heard footsteps behind her, crunching louder and closer. She turned around, but there was no one there. Just the same black figure standing far in the distance. In panic, Sarah started running. Her breath fogged up in the freezing air as her legs burned from exertion. She finally saw the parking lot where her car was parked. But her relief was short-lived. The figure was now standing by her car, motionless. Desperate, Sarah grabbed her phone to call for help, but the screen wouldn't turn on. It was as if the cold had drained its battery. She closed her eyes for a moment, mustering the courage to sprint to her car. When she opened them, the figure was gone. Sarah never told anyone what exactly happened that day. But to this day, she refuses to hike in winter, convinced that something unnatural followed her in those woods. In December 2021, Marcus, a 34-year-old journalist, rented a remote cabin in northern Maine to finish his novel. The cabin was isolated, with no neighbors for miles, and a dense forest surrounding it. He thought the solitude would inspire his writing. The first 2 nights were peaceful. The only sounds were the crackling of the fire and the occasional howl of wind. But on the 3rd night, things took a strange turn. Marcus was typing away when he heard a soft knock at the door. Confused, he checked the clock. It was 11 p.m. Who could possibly be out here at this hour? Peeking through the curtain, he saw nothing but darkness. Thinking it might be the wind, he shrugged it off. As he settled back into his chair, the knock came again, louder this time. His heart raced as he grabbed a flashlight and opened the door. No one was there, but fresh footprints trailed off into the woods. Unnerved, Marcus locked the door and decided to sleep with a kitchen knife by his bedside. Around 2 a.m., he woke to the sound of faint shuffling outside. Summoning his courage, he peered out the window and froze. A man in a tattered coat stood just outside the tree line, staring at the cabin. Marcus flicked on the porch light, but the man didn't move. "Who are you? What do you want?" Marcus shouted, but there was no reply. Instead, the man slowly turned and disappeared into the woods. The next morning, Marcus found strange symbols etched into the frost on his cabin windows. They looked like some sort of runes or ancient markings. He decided it was time to leave, but when he tried to start his car, the engine wouldn't turn over. It was as if the battery had been drained. Panicking, Marcus called the cabin's owner, but the line kept disconnecting. With no other choice, he decided to hike to the nearest town several miles away. As he packed his things, he noticed something chilling. A piece of paper slipped under the door. It read, "You can't leave. Not yet." Marcus abandoned his belongings and ran. Hours later, he stumbled into a gas station, breathless and frostbitten. When he told the locals about the man and the symbols, they exchanged uneasy glances. "That cabin?" one of them said. "People say it's cursed. No one stays there past December. You're lucky you got out." To this day, Marcus doesn't know who or what was watching him in that cabin, but he hasn't written a single word since.